Welcome to Hot Flash Chronicles, where midlife is messy, menopause is madness, and we're sweating through it together.
We're Angie and Shelly, two caffeine-fueled, slightly inappropriate grandmas who say what everyone's thinking.
So grab a drink, crank up the AC, and let's dive in. Angie
Shelly!
Guess what time it is? Go ahead, guess.
It's 2:17.
And that means
It's time for a podcast episode. Hot Flash Chronicles. I'm Angie.
I'm Shelly.
I don't know why I raised my hand.
I'm Shay. I swear.
Boy Scouts honor. What are we talking about today?
I think this is going to be a fun,
Can I just,
one.
little sidebar.
We say that every time.
Every single episode, you say, this is going to be a fun episode.
It is, and they are.
I mean, they are fun, but
Am I
who are you
wrong?
trying to convince? You're not wrong.
Maybe it's
Tell me
just
about the fun episode we're about
It's
to
an
have.
affirmative for myself. We are going to talk a little bit about taking risks,
Whoa.
taking chances.
Do you consider yourself a risk taker?
I do.
Yeah, same.
I do. And I know that risk can sound very negative to people because it makes it feel like there's something to lose.
I mean, usually there is. It's like high risk, high reward.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Even with like my financial planner's portfolio, she's like, "How risky do you want to be?" I'm like, I feel like I'm a risky girl, but I was real
More
not risky.
Yeah.
She was like, "Bump up the risk, lady."
Yeah. It's like
Thanks, Laura. By the way, you're amazing.
there definitely can be a risk involves chance. And there's a chance that it could go really well. There's a chance it could, crash and burn. So it's about the kind of life you want to have and how much do you risk things to get what you want.
Well, I feel like if you just stay in a comfort zone, you don't grow.
Yeah.
So the only time we grow is when we stretch our comfort zone. And if you get too comfortable, you just stop growing. So for me, it's like, well, what if I do this? Like, I wonder what would happen if I did. Just like us starting this podcast, it's like, we don't have any expectations. We're really doing this for our own, like, amusement. But
Why else would we do it?
But it's like, there's a risk. It takes time to do this, but it's like the reward is we're getting really good feedback from people.
Yeah.
So, and it's fun.
And that's the thing. Sometimes it's about having a vision of what you want in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times we want things and maybe there's a lot of work or maybe there's a lot of time involved or maybe there's a lot of financial investment.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll kind of go, is this something, that I'm willing to do? And sometimes I think to have the life that you want,
Right.
you have to make those decisions.
For sure. Now, I will say that I don't consider myself physically a risky person. I'm not a big fan of like jumping out of airplanes or zip lining or
Like an adrenaline
bungee jumping. That does not float my goat. No.
No. My brother is a daredevil. He likes to
Nope.
do.
I have zero of that in me.
Yeah, me neither.
As exciting as I get is like riding the front of the boat when we're going up the lake. That's about
Wow.
as rambunctious as I
What
get.
a thrill.
I know.
Exhilarating.
I know.
Oh my. The front of the
Daredevil.
Dear me. You're not making fun of me. We are celebrating.
Yeah.
That you get to the front of the boat. Hey,
Yeah.
that's our.
Well, I used to be afraid of water.
Well, then it is.
And I married a guy whose family has a boat, and I just had to get over
And
it.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think like my children, I'm not a physical risk taker either, and my children are even more. They're even
Cautious.
more cautious than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And, like they've never had. I don't think either one of my kids have ever had a broken bone or been to the ER for some weird mishap with any kind of damage, physical than ours. So they're pretty cautious. Now my grandkids do not seem to have that gene. They're a little more adventurous. They're a little more adventurous.
Yeah. My oldest grandchild is not a risk taker, but all of the other three boys, like we went to Vegas and my daughter's family lives there, and Isaiah and Ezra Isaiah just turned 4 and Ezra is about to turn 2, and they climb all over everything and they jump all over everything, and it's like, oh dear God, don't break yourself on my shift, please. Like,
Not
but
on my
Kyle
watch.
was never like that.
Yeah.
Anna, their mom, was, she spent a whole year of her life rolling everywhere as a child.
Oh dear.
A whole year, just all she did was roll.
Okay.
Isn't that a choice?
Sounds like,
Love
like
that for her.
choice. I mean,
She's a risk taker. She's a YOLO girl.
Yeah.
The other two, not so much.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think part of your inherent, willingness to take the risks is probably something that is in your DNA. Like maybe some of us are more programmed to be at ease with trying things and be fearless. And maybe some of us just have the kind of personality where it's like harder to make those kinds of choices. So it's kind of like, I think some people take a much more linear approach. Even when they're going to take a risk, they have a process that they have to go through to decide, am I going to take this risk? Whereas other people are like, where's the risk? I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Not as much planning.
My mom calls me the ready, fire, aim daughter.
Oh.
So I'm like, I'm in. Wait, what are we doing? You don't have to talk me into things. You got to talk me out of them. So if it comes to like, let's go do this thing, or let's go like choices in life, like, do you want to start a business? You bet. Let's do that.
Yeah.
But like jump off of a bridge, not so much.
Yeah. Then you have to pause.
But so I'm very impulsive.
Yeah.
If somebody said like, you don't ever have to talk me into anything.
She was a fun date back in the day. Still on. And she still is. Lucky you, Jeff. So I think when I look at my own life and some of the choices I made, there was a lot of times when I was younger where the risk didn't feel as risky because I didn't have a lot to lose.
Right.
Like maybe financially I wasn't really there yet. I didn't maybe have a home or a mortgage or kids. So doing something like that wouldn't be that hard of a decision.
Right.
Because there wasn't a lot on the line. And then I noticed as I got older, those decisions and risks started to involve the outcomes for other people too, not just myself.
Right.
Like when I had kids, or when I was married, or, it's like, oh, wait, this just doesn't impact me now. If it is a big fuck up, then it's on me and a lot of other people.
Right.
So
There'll be a ripple effect that happens if you make a big mistake.
So I know a lot of people just be like, dream big, risk big, do it, go for it. And I think there are times in your life where that absolutely can be the case. But then I also think there's times when it has to have a little more thought process.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just impulsively, jump in.
Do you feel like you're super impulsive? I don't think you're super impulsive. I would say you're a little more, you like think things through a little bit more.
Yeah, I think not when it comes to shopping.
Okay. Shopping is different.
Clothes,
for this one.
Purses,
for her.
Those I do not put as much thought into. They just kind of happen.
They just wound up in my closet. I don't know how this happened.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, so I'd say there's some things where I have more control than others. Like now when it's more like figuring out a plan for my career, or if I'm doing that has more planning, and I follow a rule like there's kind of a thought way a week. There's a process out there that's like when somebody says, do you want to start a business, or do you want to, it's like
maybe
what do you do a week? Like you take it, you roll it around, you process it, you give it a week, and if you were yes on day one and you're still yes 7 days later, then
I call that crock-potting. So most things in life I microwave, but if you're like, hey, Angie, we should, if it's travel, I'm always going to say yes. But if you were like, hey, Angie, we should build a commune, be like, let me crock pot that just to kind of figure out logistically how that would work. Yeah. So I'm a crock potter when it comes to big decisions like that. Or if somebody says, we need to come up with a plan on how to blah, 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 I'm going to crock pot that. But if it's just like, do you want to do the thing? It's probably yes. I just have to I have to crock pot how.
Right. But the answer, your gut feeling, and I think that's it too. When you bring in like your instincts, your gut feelings, somebody puts something out, proposes something that's in your wheelhouse that you're very comfortable with. I feel like those are microwaves. Like the answer can be a ding, yes, and then maybe you have to figure out, well, how do I make that happen?
I chase the goosebumps too. Goosebumps are your body telling you like, oh, you're onto something, or oh, that hits right. So if you have an idea and I get goosies about it, then it's going to be a yes, because that's my body physically having a reaction to do not crock pot this, say yes, we'll figure it out later.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, that is like following your intuition, following your gut, which I feel like times in my life that has really came through in spades. There's been times when my gut instinct was so strong, it kind of even overpowered like my logic and said, nope, you still got to do it. Like, and it was right. It was actually the right thing to do. So I trust my gut because how my gut developed was through experiences and me learning stuff. So some people don't trust their gut, and they might have reasons why they shouldn't. You know, like you have to take your own life experiences into account, and like this taking a chance, taking a risk. I feel like as I've gotten older, I still want to remain very open to those things because I think it makes your life more interesting.
Yeah.
When you're willing to think outside the box.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I think a lot of times when we get older, we think, well, now I need to play it really safe and I'm ready to settle in and kind of do this safety net thing and not add a lot of spice to everything. But for me personally, I'm like, maybe this is the best time in my life.
Right.
To do calculated risks and maybe ones where I crockpot them a little bit, but I still want to do them. Right. You know, I still want to fit that in.
Now, would you say, and I probably know the answer to this, do you think Phil is more of a crockpotter or a microwave?
Phil is what takes longer than a crockpot is there
burying it in the backyard for a week, like a luau? Yeah, like fermentation.
Like you bury something in the ground and set it on fire for 3 weeks and wait for it to... Phil is that. He is like to the nth degree to where we almost like didn't get our house that we got. I finally had to push him because he wanted to take more time and ask more questions, and he kept wanting to. And I'm like, somebody else is going to get it. That's how it works. So there's a point where you cannot luau pig. It is what you call that.
I can't think it ferment, I guess.
Fermenting. Takes a long time. Yeah. But there's times when fermenting is absolutely appropriate, but not in certain things. So he doesn't just want to take a week. He'll say things like, we'll come back to that in a month. And I'm like, I won't remember this in a month.
A month? That's
adorable. I want something else.
So this will probably surprise you, but Jeff is fairly impulsive.
Oh,
he is like, he likes to know that it's the right choice, but he will take risks. He'll say yes, but then he's very into the details of the minutia of how is this going to play out. So once we get on yes, if we're going to do something, it's like, yes, we're going to do it. Then he's going to go into the tiny little details. And like, if we say, hey, we should go to Europe. Yes.
Yes,
and like we did a hockey tournament in Iceland a few years ago. And he was like, hey, so while we're in Iceland, 2 days after we leave, the Seahawks are playing in London at Wembley. And it's only like a 2-hour flight from Reykjavik. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, okay, so while we're in London, I know you've been saying you wanted to go to Scotland. So we could do, and I was like, this is why I married you.
This is brilliant.
This is exactly why I married you. So he was like, yes, and, yes, and, yes, and. And then as soon as he got the thumbs up from me, it's like, okay, let's plan it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So he's a good planner, but he is fairly impulsive with decisions.
Yep. Well, I think, and you know, sometimes we say impulsive, like that's a bad thing. It doesn't have to be. There are times when you're just, you know that it's the thing. You just know it. And you don't want to discredit that. And then there's times when you make an impulsive decision and it doesn't go well.
Right.
And then that kind of puts us off and sends this message, oh, all impulsive decisions are bad. And I don't think that that's true. I mean,
I agree.
I've planned out things and had them go wrong. So there's no guarantee.
So you know that I'm ADD, right? We talk about this almost every episode because I'm super duper. I forgot that I said it. Yeah. So I went to Jeff a few weeks ago and I was like, okay, are you ready for the next hyperfixation? And he was like, sure. I said, I want to start a garden this year. And he was like, wow, okay. So you know a garden's a long game. And I was like, yeah, because he knows like my ADD hyperfixation, I burn real hot and fast and then it fizzles. And I said, here's the deal. I can't physically do it all myself. So I'm going to need some, if not all of the labor to be on your plate. Mm-hmm. I need this area of the yard cleared. I'm building these planters. I have it all mapped out in my head how it's going to look. Mm-hmm. And I recognize this is a really big ask.
Yeah.
And he was like, I mean, if you want it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't promise that I will ever harvest anything from said garden. I can
we
promise.
Might have some raised flower beds.
I can promise that I will invest a lot of money into planters and seeds and soil and fertilizers and all the things. I can't promise that there will ever actually be a garden. He said, I'm happy to help you if you want me to help. And I was like, by help, I mean, I need for you to do all of the physical labor.
Yeah.
And he was like, yep. So he was happy to do it, but I was like, I'm warning you, I don't know that it'll ever even do anything, and I'm asking a lot, and I recognize that, and you have full power to say no. And he was like, no, I'm okay with that. And he spent last weekend
getting it ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, if you're on the journey together, then he knows what he's in for.
He knows what he signed up for.
So that's all cool. But that's the thing is, like, maybe you'll have this wonderful garden. Maybe you'll have the experience of just setting the garden up. Who knows what will actually really happen?
It's being planted tomorrow.
Then you're probably going to have stuff. You're going to probably have some vegetables for you to can and do things with later. So it's like, those are...
I love that you knew why I chose the garden. It was because I wanted to can my own food.
I love it. I think it's, the cost of everything right now, not a bad idea.
Right.
You know? And that's the thing, too, is like sometimes things that seem like a risk at the beginning can really turn out to be a smart decision. Mm-hmm. And it could really turn into something you love. Mm-hmm. Like my mother-in-law, she started out with a little English garden that's now about a half acre in her backyard, and you can walk through it. But she started it, 30 years ago when they were born. When she bought this, and she just wanted a little, pretty place to go and sit, and it's just turned into this kind of cottage garden that you walk around. There's different parts of it. There's a pond in it. There's all this beautiful stuff, and she loves gardening. It's been like a really grounded place for her to go and do something that has a very positive and calming, kind of.
I bet it's beautiful.
Zen. It is. It's really pretty. I have lots of pictures of it, but it's like sometimes you can find something like that and you can grow it, and it can become very important to you. So who knows what your little garden?
I know, and once it's built, it'll be like at any year that I want to pick it up, it'll be there.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, it's not going to hurt to do. So it's a time investment, and I didn't map out the whole yard. I was smart enough to know, let's start with 2 planter boxes and see how we feel. So I'm not like taking over the whole yard. It was like, we're going to do 2 4-foot by 4-foot planters, and we'll see. Yeah. Nothing crazy.
Yeah. And you can always, when you like it, and you can grow it. So there are ways to be safe in your risk.
Right.
Like a sample, like trying a sample of something. And
so what are some risks that you feel like you've taken? Or
I think the biggest risk I've taken was in my career. Mm-hmm. I was working at a state agency, and I had a degree, and I went through a training program through the state to be a claims adjuster. Mm-hmm. So this was for workers' compensation. So when people get hurt on a job, I found out after doing that for a few years, about 3 years, I worked with people who were called vocational counselors, and all you needed to do to be a vocational counselor was have your bachelor's degree, like in psychology, which is what my degree was in. So, but when you go out, you have to build a caseload. At that time, you had to get personal referrals. So it was a risk because it could be good money if you got a caseload. It could turn out
but if you didn't, it could have been a flop.
They only guaranteed you a wage for like 2 months while you got in and got you.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had to decide if I thought that was something I could turn, but if I could do it. But it was also so much more money than what I made. I was like, this is one of those times where I can't play it safe. Like my whole future, my children's future depends on me giving this a shot. If it doesn't work out, I could always come back and do this again.
Right.
And what I was making wasn't like it was bad money, but it was not great money.
Right.
So that was probably the biggest risk. And I just thought, when I put my mind to something, and I've worked here for 3 years and people know me, I'm coming from this world that these are the people that refer these claims out. So it worked out fine. It really
but it was a risk.
It was huge.
You were risking your whole income stream.
With no idea. And then I was, at that time, I was in my late 30s. Maybe I was just turning 40. And I just felt like it's now or never. Like if I don't do something like this now, I will not feel safe or supported.
You're playing a long game.
Yeah, 5 years from now, if I'm going to do it and it's going to crash and burn spectacularly, then I want to do it.
Spectacular crash and burn.
Spectacular. So I just, and that was really good. And I've never, in my career, I've always been willing to take a risk, because every time I did something, it was because I wanted to either get more experience and expand my knowledge base, or I wanted more money. So those were always good motivations for make the jump or take the risk. So I was always very risky in that, but I always believed in my skill set too. I just knew I could be successful.
Well, you're super capable.
Yeah,
like,
I know I'm good at learning new things. So I felt like that was a risk that would pay off, and that one did. So career risks have been pretty good for me.
Yeah, I took a really big career risk after being in the auto industry for cumulatively like 18, 19 years. I got laid off, and Jeff said, you told me on our first date, if you could be anything, you'd be a photographer, and I think you should do that. And I was like, I can't just be a photographer. And he was like, actually, it's one of the few professions that there's no barrier to entry. You can, in fact, just be one. And I was like, oof, that's a big risk, going from that really solid income to you have to generate, like, I get no money if I don't get clients.
Yeah.
Like I don't have paid time off. I don't have like workers' comp. I don't have any of that because I own the business. And that was a huge risk that took a few years to pay off, but now it's paid off in spades. So, but it took a shit ton of work.
I remember when you came to me during that time, after you'd been laid off and stuff, going through all that, and you were really stressed out. And I remember you saying, I think I'm going to get into photography. And I was like, I think you'd be brilliant. I just remember thinking,
you were not a naysayer. There are lots of naysayers.
Yeah.
You were not one of them.
I just was like, I think she totally has the personality and the technique and all that. You can learn that. And you put yourself through good training and schooling, and you did the things that you need to do to really learn the craft. And you were super interested in. So I just remember thinking, with your personality and stuff, I just thought, that's a perfect fit. And having that freedom. Some people, when they have freedom in their jobs, they're not good at that.
You have to have that self-driving factor, because there's no manager there to tell you, like, hey, did you get those images edited, or did you send that invoice, or did you set up that system? It's all on you. And as somebody who gets easily distracted, that was challenging for a minute. But now I've been in business over 10 years, and I love what I do. I love it.
I think taking risks also just comes down to how much do you believe in yourself. So many things. You guys, you can, I say it all the time, you can play the reel, go back. This is what I always say. I always say this,
roll the tape.
Roll the tape, we'll look at the other podcasts. This theme comes back over and over again. It's your confidence. It's your belief in yourself. And that is really the biggest limiting factor is do you believe in yourself? Are you confident in who you are and what you do? And if you are, then it just seems like we look at certain people in the world and go, everything just comes so easily to them. And it's not. It's not so easy. Those people are the ones that believe in themselves and put their nose to the grindstone, and they make it happen. And it's not easy.
Right.
But they know they're capable of it, and they push
It's simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be a simple thing that can just take literally a lot of work.
Yeah, and I back myself. So it's like I knew that I could do it. And here's the thing. I am no longer employable. Like, good luck telling me to show up at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. That's just not going to happen. I like having the freedom. So I have to make this work because I'm not going to go find somewhere else to get a job because I'm not employable anymore. And I backed myself knowing if somebody can do this, I can do it. Yeah. If it's doable, I can do it. And it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of hard conversations. You know, Jeff has fully backed me and supported me, but there were times where he was like, whoa, you're raising your pricing. Why would you mess with it? Because it's working. I'm like, because I'm killing myself. Like,
yeah,
literally, I'm so exhausted. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm just going to try it.
Yeah.
And every time, and I get all this really scared, oh my gosh, nobody's going to pay. And they do, because I'm worth it. And I know that I'm worth it. It's equal exchange of value. And I stand confidently in that. Anytime I come at it really submissively, that's when people push back, because they're just mirroring back how I feel.
Right. When you know that you know your worth and you put that out there, people recognize that.
Right. But if you have like a solid, like you've been set at your price list for a while and you decide, I'm going to raise that by 30%.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk.
Sure.
Huge risk, because you could lose all of the people that you worked with.
Yeah.
But I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my job is the same way. Like, I couldn't go work. I work at a billable hour. I can make my own hours. I have to do some banking hours to do phone calls and, regular appointments, but I can work in the evenings. I can work on the weekends. There's so much flexibility. That's the other thing. Like, I've done my job for 20 years. It was a telework from home situation way before
COVID
was popular. Before it was a thing. We worked from virtual offices. So I could never go work a 9 to 5 again either, because I like my freedom and I like flexibility and I like being able to make my own schedule.
Right.
But same thing in the beginning. It took me about 2 years to figure out how to do that, like how to be my own boss and make myself do all the things without running around like my hair was on fire. So it took,
setting up systems and processes.
Yes.
Once you have those systems and processes in place, then it's easier to let stuff run itself. But when you're first figuring it out, it's like, I don't know how to do this. How do I do the thing? And then once you figure it out, it's like, oh, it's not that deep.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And as long as you recognize we need to have our own boundaries. We need to have our own sets of rules. And you can put them in place for yourself. It's that you might never had to have done that before. But after you do it once, then you can apply it, on anything you want to do, like garden. Or whatever.
Like a garden.
Or whatever, or your career, or you can take risks and chances in relationships. Sometimes you meet somebody and you really like them and you click, and they are not the normal, regular kind of person that you're usually attracted to. And you're like, do I want to take this risk? Like, do I want to put myself out there on something that's just completely different?
Or putting all of your eggs in the basket of one person, and with the threat of being hurt.
Yeah.
Like, you could end up heartbroken, but, better to have loved and lost. Like, I have been very heartbroken in my life. And when Jeff and I were first dating, when we got into the I love yous, I told him, I was like, I am so afraid of how much I care about you, because I can't fathom losing you. You're that important to me. And he was like, I'm not going to hurt you. And I was like, I just have to trust that.
Yeah.
You have to trust that it's true, because if you don't,
you're just miss out.
You're just not going to have anybody, because if I can't trust Jeff, who could I trust? He's super trustworthy.
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of our own histories and the baggage that we all
it's those
bring
old
to
stories
life,
that, like,
play around in your head.
But he's not my ex. Like, he's a totally different person that hasn't ever treated me the same ways. Yeah.
So just being open. I think so much of life and having successes is being open to the unknown, being open to things that are a little different, that maybe make you feel a little tiny bit apprehensive, and just having trust that you'll be able to recover. And I always put myself in at the level where I know that if it doesn't work out, that I have kind of an escape plan, or I have and if it doesn't do this, plan A, then, well, here's what I'll do, plan B.
Or like, what's worst case scenario?
Yeah.
And like, will you still be alive? You'll be fine.
Yeah. And sometimes there's financial risks and things where I tend to not be as crazy with financial risks, because I do understand how important it is to have some kind of stability.
For sure.
So I'm probably not as risky at things like that anymore. But if you're younger and you're learning about finances and you're learning about investing and you're starting your 401k when you're in your 20s, of course you can be, they'll even tell you, be as risky as you can to make the money. But I think that just be open. That would be the main takeaway.
And we would love to hear what risks you have taken and what chances you've taken and how you feel about it. So we'd love to hear in comments, or you can always send us like a DM. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
And as we do at the end of episodes, when we remember, should we do some rapid fire?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go first.
Okay.
Speaking of gardening, if you... No, I won't say that one.
Dear gosh.
If you were a vegetable, which one would you be?
I think I'd be a beet. They're kind of round. They're purple. I think they're surprising.
You're neither of those things. You're not round or purple.
I just relate to the round and purple. And they're surprisingly to me, they look like, but they're pretty wonderful. I love beets. I think they're delicious. So I'd be a beet.
Okay. And would you rather be somebody who names crayons or nail polish colors?
Nail polish. Just because I like to.
What would you name the one you're wearing? The silvery one.
Aqua Dreams.
Aqua? It's silver.
No, it's an aqua blue. You just can't see it.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Okay. All right. Angie.
Shelly.
If you were a cracker, what kind of cracker would you be? I'm not saying these are intelligent. They're not.
I do like a wheat thin. I'd be a wheat thin.
I love those. They're crispy, crunchy.
And it reminds me of my Uncle Jerry. He ate them when I was a little girl. So I'd be a wheat thin.
Okay, wheat thins are good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And they're stable. Like, you can dip them in stuff and they won't break. They're real sturdy. Sorry.
On a hot day, which quenches your thirst? An ice cold beer or an ice cold lemonade?
Lemonade. I'm a bad German because I'm not a fan of beer and I can't do sauerkraut.
That's why you can't live there. They're not going to let you in because you don't do the beer or the sauerkraut. I love both those. I'll be German for you because I'll do both of them.
Okay. I mean, I'm okay with beer. I just don't love it.
You're a Bavarian surrogate.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you guys, thank you so much. We hope to hear from you. Subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating. Let us know how you're feeling about these episodes. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao. Bye. That's a wrap on this episode. If you laughed, related, or just need more, hit subscribe.
Check out the show notes to find us on socials and YouTube and join our Patreon for exclusive extras.
And remember,
we're still hot, just in flashes.